All right, everybody. I'd like to welcome Ryan Maloney. He is a prestigious NFT artist. How you got into art and how that kind of set you up to go into, NFTs and prepared you for this kind of NFT boom.
Sure. So I got into art decades ago, probably 30, 32 years ago. I was about 5 years old, and in kindergarten, there was a competition to draw a monster or to draw anything, and the winner gets it put on the playground, like, drilled in to the playground, like on a wooden plank. And I painted this monster, and it won the competition and got drilled into the playground for 20 years or so. But it was it was probably at that age where I sort of like I got competitive about being an artist and about being a good artist. Like I wanted to win competitions with art. I wanted people to see my art, and I mean I've been hooked ever since.
So you had, what was the, like, what did it look like? And now, did you get to walk around like you were the big man on campus because your piece of art was, you know, that's me. Look at me. I'm the man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean I might it might have been for older kids, and I won the competition because I kind of felt like I was pretty cool after that, and I could go to the playground and go down in that tunnel and tell people that's my artwork. But it looked a lot like a beastly baller. Not it's funny how from a young age that style can continue for decades and decades.
So then, once you won that, were you like, okay, like, you know, all the girls know who I am now. I got to get into art.
Yeah, and it's I was addicted to art and sports and girls very young, and I knew they all worked with each other, so I practiced and focused on all of them, and yeah, I would draw my friends all the time. Like that's why I liked going to school, is because I knew I could draw cartoons of my friends and make everybody laugh. And yeah, it was my way of getting attention. It got the teacher's attention, and it made my life much more fun. I knew I had to go to school to take tests, but I'm going to be doodling in my notebooks and passing drawings around the class, and everybody's going to be laughing at them. So it made every single day fun. It still does.
And so now you see you have a skill here clearly, and this is something you like to do. So now, did you go the traditional college route, or did you go straight into art? How did you take it from being a hobby to a profession?
Ooh. So let me. I guess I sort of have to like walk through my story to figure it out. Once I knew that I was good at art, I structured my entire school, elementary, middle school, and high school around my art classes and drawing at night. But I was also playing sports. I was playing baseball and football. And as I got through high school, I was taking more and more art classes. But then at night, then I was, playing football. And one day, my college or my high school football coach said, I think you could play at Carnegie Mellon. I had no idea what Carnegie Mellon was. I didn't even. I was applying to colleges, but just very, just all right. I'm just going to wing it, send in an application here and there. And then once I heard about Carnegie Mellon, I went and visited, and I realized I could play football and be an art major there. So it was sort of a no-brainer for me. So I did go the traditional um, college route to be an artist. Art major all 4 years at Carnegie Mellon, and then I moved to New York City in 2005 without a job, with probably $700 in my bank account, and my mom agreed to pay a couple months rent, and then I just had 2 months or 3 months to find a job in New York, and I scraped my entire Carnegie Mellon database, my alumni database. I emailed literally 3,000 people, not even joking. I can look back at my Gmail and it's just 3,000 people I emailed, and one of them agreed to bring me in on an interview, and I just begged her for a job, and was at Turner Broadcasting as a designer. I didn't even know what a designer was, but
Mm-hmm.
it just came naturally to me working with computers. So I got a job at Turner Broadcasting, worked at a couple startups after that, a couple design agencies, and then in 2012, my client list was building up so much at night that I could sort of make the leap to work for myself. So I
Okay.
started Media Luv and I made a bunch of music videos that got a lot of attention and a lot of clients, and I've sort of been building it up ever since. So I'm on year 7 or so.
So let's rewind a little bit. So how many other people play football and are artists? I feel like that is a unique combo.
Yeah, not many. My college football coach and a lot of my friends on my team would make fun of me and, what are you doing painting those pictures over there? But to me, they're the same thing. They're learning a skill is learning a skill. It doesn't matter if you're learning how to be a plumber, a ballerina, a football player, an artist. It's doing it every day, analyzing your performance, and getting a little bit better the next day. And to me, sports were developing my competitiveness, and art was developing, a skill that was going to make me money. And when I knew I was going to combine those one day, so I could wake up every day with that drive and use my skill and sort of keep driving my skill to make me money, so I can live that life of a little bit of freedom, but a lot of fun. Even though, I'm an adult and you have to pay bills and do all the boring stuff, I still have that art in my life that makes every day fun.
Now, so you had said it like it was about building a skill, right? Whether it's art, whether it's sports, whether it's being a ballerina. Now, were there any things or any habits that you did to kind of continue to build this art skill? Because art is like a very, tangible skill set, and where you can kind of see the improvements day to day.
I'm obsessive. I've never missed a day of drawing in my entire life. And I think that's the biggest. If you want to learn any skill, throw yourself into it and don't miss a day. Say, I'm going to start this and I'm going to do it for the next 700 days, and you won't have any problems developing that skill. But if you're thinking about it in a short term, like I want to get good tomorrow or good the next day, you're going to burn out. You're going to get disappointed and frustrated. So I think that the best thing you can do is ask yourself, how can I get a little bit better today? That's the thing that has helped build my skill over the years. And it's just like the stock market or the crypto market, where you're going to have times where you go up and then you're going to crash and feel like you are terrible. You're going to get a comment that says something terrible, but then you're going to build it up, and it's going to keep correcting in the short term and look extremely choppy. But over the long term, your skill is going to be highly developed. Even though you may not feel like you've developed it, the world around you is going to say, okay, you're valuable now. Let me use you for your skill. And they're going to start to pay you back.
Now, yeah, you said it, like the consistency there. I think consistency is like the most important thing really for anything. And like, I've tried it first. So when I first, hopped in like the TikTok creating industry, I was like, I'm going to make a video every Friday. So I still make the same video every Friday. I've made it for like 80 weeks straight. I said, okay, I'm going to make a TikTok every day. And I've made a TikTok every day. And like, when you say you draw every day, do you have a specific, like, oh, I'm going to draw this, or I'm going to like draw this amount of cartoons? Or how do you quantify what you consider like, okay, I drew today?
So I wake up every morning and I try to make the first 2 hours of my day specific for my personal projects or the most important projects of the day. And they usually involve drawing of some, whether it's storyboards, character designs. I just fill that 2 hours. It's totally focused. I'm documenting for TikTok or YouTube, which is sorely, I need to build back up. But I constantly have a camera rolling of some sort now. But before TikTok, I was just doing it every day. When TikTok came around, I became obsessed with documenting. So just like you, it was what you have to think in your head is, don't worry about what you're creating or the skill you're developing. Just focus on the cadence of which you do it. So if you find a platform or a medium that you like to create in, or even just like test Twitter, test TikTok, all you have to do is create 5 times a day. It doesn't matter what you create, just create and post 5 times a day, and your skill will fill that void. You'll figure out things to do rather than wait for the perfect idea and then create. Jump off the ledge, start creating, and then the skill and the ideas will come to you.
Yeah, so almost like the it's not the content is important, but what is important is the consistency. So you'd rather be able to post these 5 videos or these 5 content a day, where maybe they're not perfect, but you're doing it. You're doing it. Like the consistency is a little bit more important than the quality.
Well, yeah, because in social media these days, you're not rewarded with quality. You're rewarded with creating content as much as the consumer is picking up their device and looking for that hit.
Mm-hmm.
So if people are checking Twitter or TikTok 5 times a day, you need to create content that's similar to that amount.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to get lost, and TikTok won't reward you. But if you're creating good content people like that gives them that high, TikTok's going to reward you. But you can't just stick your toe in and disappear. Like you have to be in it for the long haul
Mm-hmm.
and build it up over time. I mean, it definitely takes years. I mean, I'm probably on year 1.5, 2 years of TikTok. I just at least try to hit every day. And I'll batch stuff up ahead. Like on Fridays, I'll batch a lot of content. So in my drafts, I have like 20 that,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe there's a Sunday I don't feel like posting anything. I do hit posts, but I'm not creating or documenting anything. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have days where like pointing a camera in my face is the last thing I want to do pretty much every day of the week. But that's also like another thing I like to do with when I say, all right, Ryan, you need to post 5 times a day. 2 of these needs to have your face. Like, don't hide from things. You got to put yourself out there, put your brain out there, put everything out there that you feel insecure about. Get the comments that say you look like, I forget who people tell me I look like every day.
Ryan
like,
Reynolds.
Get over that stuff immediately and start creating stuff that people like, and that's of value to people.
Now, I guess part of a lot. So we'll touch on the creator economy, and I know you have a lot of opinions on that. But now I do want to, because you did mention it, and this is a little while back. So after your because being an artist, this is not your traditional 9 to 5 job by any means. This is a leap. There are not many roles out there for it to be financially, a way to do it. So you have to be skilled and you have to have passion. So when you graduated from Carnegie Mellon and now you moved to New York City, I think you said you had like 7K in your bank account. You had an email.
Not even 700.
700. 700. Okay, so you have $700 in your bank account, and now you have this vision, this mission. I'm gonna do this. What was going on in your mind when you took this risk?
All of my friends from Carnegie Mellon were getting into banking, were moving to New York City. So to me, New York was also the center of the art world. So I just at least had to position myself for the most opportunity and success rather than going to, no offense to Idaho, but it's not the place to go. So I sort of look for the eye of the hurricane and throw myself into it and know that I'm going to adapt to it. I'm going to meet the people that need what I can deliver. And so what was going through my head, I remember a lot of hot summer days in New York City, sort of sweating it out, just figuring out like how am I going to get this next interview. I would go on like 7 interviews a day for the month of June, July, and even into August before I got my first job. I mean, I would just be sweating bullets walking back from New York City because nobody's doing Zoom meetings back then. I literally had to go into meetings there, get reamed out on some interviews. Like, I didn't even know what a portfolio was. The people interviewing me had to show me what a portfolio was. I just had like a bunch of rough drawings and artwork from college, but I remember back to applying to Carnegie Mellon, we had to do a portfolio review, and I walked up to this like big art space, and all these high schoolers put these amazing paintings up on the wall, but there were only like 2 or 3 for every artist. Like I looked at the names, and each student only put the 1 or 2 best pieces up, and I thought to myself, like, that's ridiculous. So I put like 50 pieces in my little space that I was allotted, and I'm like, at least I'll stand out in the terms of that I just sort of a creative machine, and I'll create all day, every day, and they'll like me at this school because I'll take advantage of the time that I'm here. And that got me into Carnegie Mellon. So I sort of apply that to looking for a job. I'm just going to email 3,000 people, say this is what I do, and the law of percentages. 1% is going to respond to me, and I'm going to take advantage of it.
And yeah, so you're emailing these people, and are you ever thinking when you're on these subways and you're sweating, are you ever thinking, like, Ryan, like, what am I doing? Was there a point where you're like, maybe art isn't the way for me to, have this financial stability?
I'm sure I thought that at the time, but I'm extremely stubborn and competitive, and I also have the voice in my head like, I'm going to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I still have those thoughts every day. Like, is this should I be making these TikToks? Should I be creating these beastly ballers? And you feel that way on almost every single project, but I look at everything I do as a portfolio, and I am doing multiple things and investing all around the wheel. And if something is taking off, I'm focusing more in on that. So when I got to New York and some people at design agencies would respond to me, well, then I look at more design agencies. So I'm sort of, even if I am unsure or insecure about things, I'm trying to manage my risk all around my portfolio. So one thing will take off, other things will die off. Some things will just last for a little while. So it's sort of like risk management. So I don't go all in until I sort of get some traction.
Mm-hmm. I think that is a very good point because, some people, they'll say, go all in here. And then the problem with that is if it doesn't work, you have a problem. But as you're kind of discussing, having this series of small bets allows you to kind of work on these things in parallel. And then as you're working on them, you've pretty much spread out your risk. And you've also, let's say it's 5 threads in parallel, you now have 5 times a chance of like one of them taking off. And then now you can kind of, focus on that as that picks up. And I think that's, whatever it is, whether it's like media creation or like, side hustles, whatever it may be, having like a series of small bets allows for you to have this upside without, well, also mitigating like the risk that you have.
Yeah, I think small, quick bets is the way to go because you'll get these ideas and these delusions of grandeur. As soon as you have an idea, you'll have it in your head like, this is going to be the next big project. Then you take one step to create it and all the obstacles flood in and you immediately want to quit. So take those quick small bets, let the obstacles rush in, punch you in the face, and then see, do I want to get punched in the face for the next year or not? And then the ones that you don't mind getting punched in the face for, because they make people so happy or you make money from it, keep doing that. But the ones that punch you in the face and you're like, you know what, I want nothing to do with this, just kill them off and go make another bet.
And now, do you have any right now? What are the small bets that you're working on?
The small bets I'm working on are a lot of TikTok experiments, turning people into cartoon NFTs. I created this project in 1 hour, built a website in 1 hour, put it on TikTok, and over 100 people responded. So I could draw 100 people, mint them as NFTs. They just pay the gas fees. It might be a complete disaster. I might kill it, but that's one thing. Beastly Ballers is another. And then I'll advise one crypto company building like a crypto music NFT platform. I'm working with a couple professional athletes to turn their game-worn gear into NFTs. So before each game, like of the NFL season, they'll post that, all right, the cleats I'm wearing in this game are going to be released as an NFT. Bid on it now. Once you buy the NFT, they'll be shipped to your door. And then those people that own that can trade that and, make money on it or keep them for value. Let's see, what else? There are musicians. Some musicians want to release their music as NFTs, so maybe building standalone websites that allow them to post their 3D NFTs, and the list goes on and on.
And now so this is a wide array of small bets, and that's the beauty of it because, you have in your background, you have these minting of 100 people, which I want one.
I'll get to them.
B, there's a lot of different things going on in parallel. And while you're doing all these things, I guess you are building up different skill sets. Like you'd mentioned this website. Are you now learning how to build websites? Like,
I
how are
used
you
to.
building up all these skill sets?
So I've known how to build websites for a while. I used to run home from my job at Turner Broadcasting in 2005, run back to my apartment, and from 5 p.m. until 2 in the morning, I would learn to build websites. And I made a website called Rai Comics, where I'd post a comic and put it out every weekend or every few days. I was 21 years old. I had no idea what I was doing, but I wish I would have stuck with that. I had an email list, I had a website. So intuitively, I knew that I needed to get attention and build an audience and build a relationship with people. But I didn't have the maturity to know that it was a long game and that I should invest in it and stick with it for the long term. So when things started to get, go sour, or I got some bad comments about the comics, I shut that down. But it taught me the skills to build a website. Like, I love using Elementor to build websites super quickly, and WordPress. Yeah. So what was the question? I
So
sort of went
you're
off track
building
there.
all these different skill sets, right? Like, how do you juggle all these different, both A, gaining these skills, and B, like you had mentioned all of these different small bets. How do you juggle between these small bets?
So I sort of break up. It's sort of how I structure the time in my day. So 80% of my day is structured around safe, revenue generating activities for me. Like, Media Luv is my revenue generating activity, but it used to be a full time job. But I purposely made those full time jobs that I could put my skill into and learn skills that I would want to go off on my own and get paid to do. I saw the opportunity that if I sharpened my skills, building presentations, websites, I could go off and get paid for that myself one day. And that's sort of how I structure it: 80% revenue generating, and then 20% risk taking, small bets, exploring, starting projects, killing projects, um, talking to people like you, talking with, just merging ideas and um, just creating totally new stuff. So as you do that, you are sort of forced to develop new skills to survive and add value to everybody.
So at for your Media Love, so that is your 80%. Um, Now, what do you like? What does your day to day look like for that 80%? And are you trying to like keep that afloat or like grow that? Because at least in my eyes, with my understanding of Media Love, is like you did kind of create this, and like that almost seems like that would be like the main hustle in a sense for growing that project. Like, is there a reason why you can't grow Media Love versus this other 20%?
It's something I struggle with all the time. I look at it like 80% is Media Luv, 20% is Ryan. And figuring out a way to blend those two is what I'm working towards. But if that fails, then I'll have Media Luv, which is sort of like a cash revenue system, with clients and a little staff of freelancers and assistants that I could potentially sell one day. If not, I love working on the projects. I love working with the clients, so it will always pay me. Um, yeah, but I keep getting sidetracked. What was the? Did that answer the question?
Yeah, yeah. Well, because I'm personally, this is a I'm selfishly learning right now because you have like Media Love, right, and you have Ryan. Like, so it's they're kind of one and the same, but they're two different brands in a sense. Um, and now personally, I'm learning on the fly. I don't know what I'm doing. And I have like
Do
this.
you have an agency?
No, I'm just this is just me figuring it out. But so I have this. It's called the Incubator, which is like this learning environment, and like that's the business entity that I'm trying to grow. That really doesn't need me. Like right now, I'm trying to grow it, but the idea is to grow that. And then there's the mac and cheesy, which is like my personal. So like I'm definitely gonna pick your brain after this, but like because you have Ryan and then you have Media Love, and that's similar. I think that's a great way to kind of grow something that is aligned with like your personal brand and everything. So I'm super interested. I'm gonna pick your brain after this on that. Now, so you have this 80% time. Now that 20% you spend that 20%, that's your start of your day, and then the 80% is the rest of the day?
Yeah, usually 20% is the start of my day, and I'll do some like preparing at night for the next morning. So I really don't like to do any management or setting up files first thing in the morning. I like to sit down, open my iPad or my computer, and immediately start to work. So say I have to draw 10 people tomorrow morning for for NFMe. I'm going to take all those pictures tonight and put them in a document. So when I open that document, I literally just draw right next to it. I don't need to think about it at all. And then after about 2 hours of that, my brain starts to get exhausted and I need like a 15-minute break. And at that point, then I transition over to Media Luv. I have a virtual design assistant that's incredible. He keeps all my projects moving. He sends me a text first thing in the morning saying, this is what we have to do for the day. This is what I did last night. This is what, it just organizes my mind so much of what I need to execute for the next few hours. And then I'll take new business calls from like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And then I'm doing a lot of the creative upfront of my projects, just concepting, writing scripts, storyboarding and designing. And then the scaling of those projects are what I'll work with freelancers and other designers on. So Media Luv is sort of me taking on new business, laying the foundation of the creative, and then bringing in people to help fulfill that vision.
Now, so you do this, you do like these manual tasks at night where you really don't need your peak brain capacity, and then you set yourself up for success the next day, and that's kind of just part of your routine. And I think that's a probably because you don't want to be spending your main brain energy moving files around.
Hate it. So I don't do that with just my work. I'm like a psycho. I prepare my breakfast at night. I prepare my lunch at night. I think about what's going around my creativity to minimize that work as much as possible. So I have a lot more room to create and be free. So it's very much like a very disciplined approach gives me a lot of creativity and freedom.
That's so I meal prep as well. I eat like I'm on vacation right now, so I'm out of it, but I meal prep I eat the same thing for breakfast and dinner, or lunch and dinner every single day. I drink the same coffee every single day, butter coffee. Like, I am a creature of habit, and
Wait, I have a question. When you make your coffee, do you know exactly? You put like the same amount of, or tea? You put the same amount of water in every day with like a count? Like I have everything down to like a science, so I never have to think about it. I know how many carrots are going to go in my salad, how much water is going to go in my coffee. I don't want to think about any of that.
I don't do that to that level. However, I'm an eyeball guy for both the lunch and dinner. However, it's like the same product. I do. Do you do butter coffee?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, I might have a life hack for you. Beastie Baller is about to be the next crypto punks after butter coffee.
Beastly butter coffee.
Yeah.
What is it?
So basically, well, personally, what I do is, so I'll fast until like 12 or like 1 p.m. every day. But butter coffee, it's basically black coffee, butter, and then MCT oil. And the fats, so the butter and the MCT oil, that acts as like your brain fuel when you're fasting. It's not like a traditional fast because it is calories, of course, but like it allows, like, your brain just like functions very well, and you don't. Personally, I get a little jittery when I drink coffee. This butter like almost stabilizes it, and like I think you're gonna love it. I really do.
Interesting, because I'll fast from about 6 p.m. It's not even a fast. This is a complete joke to people who fast. I just make sure I stop eating food by 6 p.m. And then I will eat breakfast around 8 a.m. But I do like to be in a calorie deficit. I want my body to be panicked a little bit, because that panic makes me create more. It's like a caveman in a cave who needs to hunt, so he's going to plan things out on the wall, draw where the buffaloes are. Like, I feel like that's where my creativity comes from, is having that controlled panic and know when to put myself in that state. I'm going to be panicked and deprived of calories in the morning. That's when I create. Once I have lunch, I'm going to feel a little lethargic. let that work through that, and then I'll have another wave. And it's very similar to like in football camp in college. You do an early morning practice, then you take a break and have lunch, and you have an afternoon practice, you take a break, and then you do film at night. So it's very, like, my energy levels have been very much set from playing sports in college and football. I have 3 or 4 good waves a day, so I always want to be prepared to sort of catch those energy waves.
And you know what I think is interesting is like a lot of people think, okay, being a creator, right? You know, your mind is like whatever all over the place, and it's just part of like being, an artist and a creator. You don't There's really no method to the madness, but it's exactly the opposite, especially for you, that in order to create at an optimal level, you need to have these strict regimens so that when it comes time for you to create, you're able to create and you're not bogged down with some other stuff.
Yeah, my grandpa was a doctor for a long time, and one of the last things he said to me, I went to his like nursing home, and he would like show me off to all of his friends and make up these stories about how I'm a much bigger artist and designer than I actually am, like to kind of up his status level in the nursing home. And
Of course.
we were at lunch, and he leans over to me and he whispers to me, he's like, creativity is a disease. And I was like, whoa. Like, I didn't expect you to tell me that. And I think what he fails to realize is it's a disease if you don't build a method around it. Like, if you don't structure a car to use that gasoline, it's a complete shit show. So you need to build structure and framework throughout your day. So when you wake up with that tank of gas, like, we know where to drive, you are going to drive, and you're going to burn that fuel out. So that at the end of the day, you've made the most of your day, and that madness got you somewhere. Like, because it is a disease, it is a madness, and you need to structure it, capture it, and use it. If you don't use it, man, it's going to hurt you.
So now I think, like, yeah, it's about containing this monster, and just really like knowing what you need to do. And I think obviously your work ethic is what's gotten you like where you are today. And I think, like, for anyone listening, like, the work works, like there's really no secret sauce to it. Clearly you have a resume, clearly you're structured, that you're building or you're designing every day, you're drawing every day, and that's like the method to the madness. There's no secret sauce here. There's no get rich quick scheme.
No, it's building structure, being disciplined, and being consistent. Then your skills and your resume build up. It's not build a resume and skills first and then show the world. It's go through it and figure out how to structure it, filter it, curate it, and then it builds up, and people will see and say these things about you. I don't even feel that way about myself at all, but other people say it about me because they see me working all the time and they see the art that's created from the discipline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the work works. Now, so that's a little bit about how Ryan, got here, and I think it's a very clear, it's creative, but there's a clear path to it, and it's working, having a clear, structure, and being consistent. And I think that goes around for a lot of people. So now you're an artist, right? And now this crazy NFT thing happens where people are talking about this. How did you, what made you first decide, okay, I have all this art, I need to get into the NFT world?
So when I heard about NFTs, I wrote it off. I thought to myself, why would anybody want to trade JPEGs around? And then the thing is, NFTs infects your brain, and it doesn't go away. And then one day, a light bulb, it literally just bursts in your brain, and you say, wait a minute, like, this is the way the world should work. If we make a transaction, there should be a record of that everybody can see. And maybe that thing that I own goes up in value, and people can trade for it. That, as soon as that happened, I took my structure of, okay, I have to make 5 TikToks a day, and I pointed the camera at my face and I made a TikTok about it, working my thoughts through as I made the TikTok, rather than scripting it or trying to be, a professional about it or having the exact thing to say about it. I sort of use the medium to filter the information through my brain into TikTok. And as soon as I did that, it was like a waterfall just opened up in terms of people getting in touch with me and me thinking about NFTs and creating NFTs.
And now, so any advice for somebody? So there's a lot of artists out there with this real physical art. Any advice for artists who are trying to convert their physical art to this digital NFT art?
Sure, I'd say it already is. If you can take a picture of your art, you can upload that to OpenSea, or there's another app called Ownerfi where it's on your iPad, so you can take, or on your iPhone, you can take a picture of it, and you'll see it minted, but you'll see a QR code, and you can print that QR code, put it on the back of your artwork, and when somebody scans that, it takes them to, I don't know where it takes them to from Ownerfi, maybe Etherscan or somewhere where you can see the blockchain interaction. So right now, I'm buying a painting from an artist in Barcelona. It's massive, so it's taking a long time to get over here. But as soon as it does, actually, you know what? We're going to do the entire transaction as an NFT. So instead of sending him money, I'm going to have him take a picture of it, post it on OpenSea. I'll buy the NFT, then he'll send me the painting. Once I get the painting, I'm going to relist the painting on OpenSea for a higher value. So I'm going to own the physical painting. But if somebody wants to buy it from me, you can make me an offer on OpenSea. So I think the NFT world and the physical world, they're like right there. All you got to do is just connect it with some sort of identifier.
So that's interesting. So in that use case, you're leveraging the NFT technology as a like a ledger to monitor the ownership and the transactions of a physical painting. So you're not necessarily, you are converting it to a digital piece just for the logistics of it, but you're leveraging the NFT technology to actually have a ledger of this physical painting. So you're using it on a physical.
Yeah, I'm using it the way I think NFTs will be used in the future. I don't think we're going to be using the term NFT at all. It's going to drop away just like MP3 dropped away from music. I think we're going to walk into a Home Goods and buy a table. When they scan it, it's going to be registered to the blockchain. To me, an NFT is a receipt of transaction and a value and ownership. It's almost like a deed to a house, but it's digital, digital, transparent, and decentralized. So to me, that's the way the world should work. I hope it stays around. I think it'll stay around rather than the paper slow world that we live in. It's ridiculous to buy a house through a deed, and even through email and sending funds is insanely slow. It should be done through a crypto wallet and through the blockchain.
Now, I am curious. So for your physical painting transaction, right? How do you verify that you get, how do you verify that he or she is sending it? How are you really converting that real world transaction? Because a traditional NFT, it's obvious, the ownership changes hands and now you own this piece of digital art. There's no Amazon involved, no FedEx shipping involved. How do you make sure that part of the transaction is successful?
I think it's still a little unclear how to do that. Right now, I'm doing it as building a relationship with the artist through my DMs. I've just been taught, his name's Wandres Ferris. He's an amazing 3D artist. He does some insane work. So to me, NFTs are also about relationships. Like, I've built relationships with people that own my NFTs. So I think when you make that transaction, you take the time to sort of, trust but verify that he's going to take this picture and send the painting over as soon as the funds come in. But you build up the relationship. I follow him as an artist, so you're probably not going to buy anything that you don't really value. So you're going to take your time to learn about it, to trust it, to follow the content, and trust the artist or trust the creator. And I think there's a lot of room to be built into these platforms like OpenSea, where you can connect with the creator, more of a social network, and with ratings and more verification and
right.
The word I'm looking
similar
for?
to like an eBay seller
Validation.
account almost, like where you're or like Airbnb or whatever, like your reputation is clearly there. So, you know, that's part of the gig, a real world reputation. Now you spoke about it. So you knew this artist, right? And you kind of had a relationship. With so many artists out there, and really I can mint an NFT right after this call if I'd like. Do you have any advice, or what do you do to kind of identify a legitimate artist, and how do you identify, or how does an artist separate themselves from all these other artists in the NFT space?
A lot of it is attention, but a lot of it is skill. You can tell the people that have put a lot of work into it. It's very rare that I ever want to buy art. So if I feel that way about a painting I've seen, I know that there's something deep there. Like there's some talent or value. I'm sort of investing in the artist because I know that's going to increase in value over time. But for an artist to stand out against another artist, it's a competition. It's a competition for attention. So you need to be either good or unique, or find a niche, or you have to play the marketing game a little bit and get your attention. I'd say the consistency of creating and flooding any channel you're working on with consistent, good quality. My Amazon's going off there. Sorry, to pick up my kid with. So you need to create work consistently and put it out and stay on top of mind of people. That's the only way to win any business, really, in my point of view.
And the consistency, and I think on that, we've seen it with you, like, and Beastly Ballers has all, which I need to get a Beastly Baller. If you're listening to this, make sure to go Google Beastly Ballers, check those out. But artists like, so, you know, you have this work ethic. I think the gold standard in terms of that is probably like Beeple, who's released a piece of art every day for, like, that's how, of course, his art is super interesting, but it came down to, I'm going to release a piece of art for, what was it, 10 years or like that?
9 years, I believe. And
9 years.
To me, my opinion, when I heard that story, was two things. I thought, only 9 years? I'm like, that's nothing. So to an artist, that's absolutely nothing, because we wake up to create every single day. Actually, three things. So the second one is, it's genius that he did that because it created a portable story for his NFT. If he didn't post everything for 9 years, you wouldn't have just said that to me. Nobody would have said that to anybody. That wouldn't have been a headline. But because he did that, there's a tiny little portable message attached to his NFT, and that feels like 9 years of value. The third one is he actually hit post every single day. As an artist, the hardest thing is to hit post, because you'll create something and then you'll get lazy, fearful, and you're like, I don't want to post this. But no matter what, every single day, he posted something. So that's where he earned his money, is he went into his fear every single day and posted something. So I think he earned every single dollar for that NFT.
Yeah, have you thought of, I know you draw every day. Have you thought of doing something similar?
Yeah, but then it's sort of, I think I need to create my own thing.
Right.
Because I think people's kind of got the 9 years down. So I think I'll find it. I think I do it more with animation and series and partnerships on TikTok, and I'll eventually find my thing. Sometimes when I'm creating series of Beastly Ballers, it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday post thing. But I haven't put that little portable message to my NFT yet, which is very important.
Mm-hmm. Now, so you touched on, you think that MP3s, so similar to how we no longer call music MP3s, we're going to no longer call NFTs NFTs. Do you see, where else do you see the NFT world going?
Right now, the things I'm directly working on are pretty much anybody that creates content. So I'm working with musicians who want to release rare songs with unlockable content, like live performances or something special for the people that buy them. The second is working with athletes with their game-worn memorabilia, and a lot of memorabilia. Anything with nostalgia or value or pride is going to be an NFT. I see it as being tickets with unlockable content and receipts. So receipts for any physical item. And then it'll continue to evolve digitally on these platforms, and they'll be involved in digital worlds. And my brain sort of doesn't work that way. I'm sort of bouncing between the physical and digital, so I'm really not an expert on how to speak to the digital worlds, but
Hmm.
it's going to be around for a long time within these Decentraland type of products.
Yeah, I was about to say, Decentraland's an interesting thing, and you can create an art studio on Decentraland, and then like you could have a beastly baller like display house. Have
Have you been
you
in it?
played around with Decentraland?
I mean, I've gone in it for like 5 seconds, and it was sort of one of those I don't get this yet. I know a lot of people are in there, and that probably means it's going to be huge, but I haven't really been into it. Have you?
I did the same thing. I For a lot of products, a lot of things, I like using it before I really buy into it. So Decentraland, when the NFT, I thought Decentraland, the price of the mana token actually lagged the NFT hype. So I was looking at it from like just a pure investment standpoint. But I didn't pull the trigger because I was like, I don't actually enjoy playing on this. And
Yeah.
granted, it would have been a great decision to buy into it, but so be it. I'm not sure in terms of in my thought on like something like Decentraland. I don't know if that's. I think being early is the same as being wrong, and I don't
Hmm.
know if Decentraland or any of these existing products today um, will be the product that wins it or will be like mass adopted. So that's why I'm just hesitant on these kind of VR like NFT spaces, like where everything is NFTs, but I think they're awesome.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm used to being wrong a lot because I like to be early.
Hmm.
So It's an interesting way to put it because I've been wrong so many times. Wrong about 3D printing years ago. But there's going to be a lot of things going on right now that are very wrong. There's going to be a lot of people in your friends and family in your close circle that say, "I told you so." But this is the beginning of something that's being built. It's going to be burned down to ashes, but out of those ashes, something long lasting is going to rise for sure. That's going to be a mix of NFTs and crypto. So it's good to be early, whether we're going to be right or not. Most likely wrong for the most part, but hopefully that 1% pays off for everybody that's early.
Hmm. So we to go into a slightly different topic. So I know that you have a lot of thoughts on the creator economy. Can you, for everyone listening, can you give a summary on what the creator economy is?
The creator economy is basically making a living off of your passion and what you like to create. So it comes down to, right, like 10 years ago, I would work for a company because that company was marketing and advertising, and I was tied, so my income was tied solely to that one company. But now with the internet, you can build your own audience, say the thousand true fans theory, and your income is decentralized, just like the decentralization of capital going on now. So the creator economy is, you're basically a corporation. I mean, you market yourself, you advertise yourself, you get attention, and people pay you money, and you earn your income from different. I look at it as a portfolio or a wheel. You have different revenue streams coming in, and it's sort of like a life of not pure freedom because you have to be very disciplined in order to pull it off, but it's creativity and making income from your creativity and passion.
And now the the skill set, I guess the important thing to note with the creator economy is you need to have a skill set or provide value that people want to pay for. Now, do you have any tips on or how to identify what your skill set is, where you provide value, and how you can actually monetize as a creator?
Sure. So you gotta, when you start out, you need to put yourself in positions that don't feel right, that feel awkward, that feel like you're being used a little bit, and listen to things people are telling you. A lot of listening, a lot of failing, and then figure out the stuff that when I was working at Turner Broadcasting, I had people come to me and be like, hey, Ryan, can you work on this project for me at night? And it's like those little signals that you get when you throw yourself into the fire, put yourself in the eye of the storm that you need to listen to and invest more time in. So if you're, let's use plumber for an example, like if you want to be a very good plumber, you probably go work for a plumber, get a little bit of experience. They they use you, take advantage of you, and pay you a low wage, but you're learning a lot. And eventually, you pick up clients on the side. They would pay you income. You build that out, and you push it a little bit more. And you'd have a healthy friction of working a full time job or a side job, and keep building that up until one is bigger than the other. And it's sort of like not a leap off of a cliff. It's almost a step onto another cliff. So you have a little bit of a safety net. But in terms of finding what you like to do, it's throw pasta at the wall, see what sticks. Like try 10 different things for the next every day for the next 100 days, and you'll find something that sticks. It's a lot of testing. Just don't be afraid to fail, to look like a fool, document it, and put it out to the world because somebody will like to see you look like a fool, and your vulnerabilities will also attract people. So figure out where to capture attention from all different angles.
And the looking like a fool, I think this is something that is really the thing that's holding most people back is they're afraid to look like a fool to their friends, to their family, and all these different people. And I think for one, who cares? Like
Yeah.
the people that you think will care, they don't actually care. And two, like as long as you can look in the mirror and be like, I'm fine with what I did, then who cares? And so I think that holding people back really shouldn't be an issue, but I think that's one of the main reasons that's stopping people from trying to do like these creator type skills.
I think one way to get around that is to gamify it in your head. So I still have voices of people from high school that, made fun of my drawings or said I wasn't good enough to do something. Literally every day, those voices in my head echo as I'm creating. And that's the tension, the resistance, as it's called, that I'm fighting against every day. And the game to me is to get to that post button and post it and dunk it in their face. And do that every day. I know they're voyeuring. They might be watching this right now. But that's the game to me. Another thing is, no offense to your friends or your family, they don't matter as much with the internet because the tribes you build online and you attract people of like minds online and in business. So those people in your friends and family that, tell you this can't be done. Why are you doing crypto? It's going to crash. Like, it doesn't matter. You're building a tribe somewhere else, and you don't need to even defend yourself to those people because, you have so much potential and opportunity in a different channel and building with the internet.
I love how you described it as like posting, like dunking on, and I think the dunk, the metaphorical dunk, it's not about if it actually like was a dunk or it actually was like an amazing piece of content or whatever it may be. I think the dunk, the metaphorical dunk, is that you had the courage to do this, and that some like people who are saying, "Oh, Ryan, like Beastly Ballers is stupid," like they're probably not doing their own Beastly Ballers. So just
They're probably not doing anything.
exact like so. I think it's important to be like, who cares? And now you had mentioned it. So with the plumber example, right? So you're building up. So you're working on this main thing, or you have something that takes that 80% of your time, but the other 20%, you're building it up. And it's less of a leap, more of a step to that next thing. Is there a way to know, okay, I'm ready for this step. All right, like this is the time to step off this ledge and then go to this other project.
Well, here's the technique that I use. It's called the cowardly leap. You build up two things at once. Build up your main job, your main income, then build up your side projects. Once they get to about this level, you're going to start thinking to yourself every single day, like, I'm too scared to take this leap. Keep doing it until your side projects are so high and your bosses hear about it that they fire you and push you off that ledge.
I
Now I
actually
didn't
love.
get fired, but we parted ways because I was doing so much work at night and making so much more income than my regular job that they couldn't comprehend that. They thought, oh, you only make a job from my income that I pay you. So it just, at that point, I was like, yeah, this just isn't going to work.
So it's pretty much, yeah, it pretty much comes down to like when you're really trying to make the leap into another um, field or a something that you're working on is really if it starts here and your other things here, as time progresses, you'll know once it's time, and it won't be a leap. It'll actually be a natural progression.
It'll feel like a leap, but it'll be a step up. And then you can start to do that with, once you make that leap, you do it with your side projects as well. So each one is just going up and down, and you're stepping from one to the other. So that process never ends. So you need to get used to. I basically just wake up and think to myself, all right, I'm jumping off a cliff today into something else. Like, just get used to that.
Yeah, that is because I mean, personally, again, selfishly, I'm gonna be talking to you after this interview, but that's something that I'm like juggling. Like I'm working on these things, I'm working on this other thing that, um, I'm takes a lot of my time, and personally, I think whatever that step is, I'm looking forward to it. I'm nervous. I'm excited for it. But it's just not an easy. It's not an easy thing.
Mm-hmm. No,
Um,
I see people in their 40s and their 50s that are dreaming about making that leap, and they never do. But you have to realize that the safe move is to make the leap often, and it will make you stronger, and you'll figure it out. You'll sort of, what's the expression of, it's like making a startup or any idea is like jumping off a cliff and build, like you need to jump off the cliff before you build the plane, and you'll realize that you're so strong, and like, damn, I did this. Like, and it gives you more confidence to make the next leap. So like when I look back, like I don't care about any of the artwork I made. It's really just the things that I'm actually proud of is that I made the leap. I jumped into New York City. I jumped into all these projects. Like I've had conversations and meetings and presentations with people that would have made the younger me pee my pants, and I did. Like those are things I'm proud of. So I wake up every day and I sort of look for the cliff to jump off of.
that is, yeah. I mean, I'm getting chills over here. It excites me because talking to creators like you, like who have already made the leap. I'm just learning, and as much as everyone else is learning here. Um, so it is exciting for me. Now, have you ever made a leap and then been like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, I made the leap to startup companies that weren't. I didn't verify that they would be. I mean, they were building products that just they were using the waterfall technique, spending a lot of money building a product, hoping that it would be good for a marketplace rather than building something quick and testing the marketplace. So I made that leap to that company. I did it for more money. And I'd say when I do things for more money, there's a lot of crap that comes along with it. And it's very shaky ground. Like when I do things out of make the leap out of curiosity, passion, and I sort of follow my fear. I figure it out, and I provide so much value that the income coming in is, I'm creating so much value that like I don't feel guilty about the income at all, and it's something that I don't mind being underpaid for.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Um, Now, so what's your North Star goal?
Sometimes it's to eliminate goals every day. Like I sort of shed them away. Um, I have many goals. I mean, I love writing children's picture books and graphic novels. So I'd love to have like a bestseller, but that it also needs to be attached to um, either a series or merchandising. And I sort of like to continually blend all my worlds. So blend my toy experience with my intellectual property experience. I love living a life of creative freedom with multiple revenue streams, and maybe packaging that into sellable products or companies one day. But yeah, I find like life is more fun when you just let things unfold. You do the work and let things unfold rather than trying to plan things out. Because as soon as I plan things out and make a goal, I know the boxing gloves are coming out and people are going to be punching me in the face all day, every day. So I sort of like have this attitude that there is no goal today. I'm just going to work as hard as I can on this thing right now and let things unfold. And that's when the best stuff happens. Otherwise, I'm going to be super stressed. I'm not going to be able to overcome these hurdles and obstacles that always pop up. I mean, as soon as I could go to take an envelope to the post office, I know for a fact I won't have enough gas, so I'll have to go to the gas station. I'll get to the gas station. I'll see somebody I have to talk to for the next 15 minutes. There'll be just all of these obstacles. Rather than having a goal, it's just like, I don't let myself feel that, oh, I have this. I need to pursue this thing. This is what I'm curious in right now. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let it unfold.
Now, yeah, it's interesting just because you do have such a strict schedule, and like with that personality type, I almost am a little bit surprised that you don't also have like these clearly defined like 1 month, 3 month, like 10 year or 1 year goals. But you find that the importance is kind of that day-to-day work, and that the goals will figure themselves out.
Yeah. I never succeeded with long-term goals. In New York City, I had this roommate who had a 10-year plan mapped out to the T perfectly, and not a single one of those has come true. He left his job in banking, never even achieved any of those steps. I mean, he's totally successful and fine now, but it was after he gave up that 10-year plan. I think the best stuff comes when you sort of like connect like-minded brains through the work that you create today, and then the opportunities present themselves and you take advantage of those opportunities rather than trying to think that you can control the future and say, I'm going to be at this point. Like, obviously, I want to be making millions and millions of dollars from my creativity one day. But to get to that point, I need to do the work today and be disciplined today and put my brain out there so it attracts the like minds to create those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. It, yeah. Sometimes the goals can become more of it's like a task, and now it's like an extra. There's a deliverable to make the goals, and now you're not even approaching the goal. And I've seen the same. I make sure I try and do like shorter term goals, whether it's like a week, like all that are super deliverable, and all these different techniques. But yeah, I do tend to agree. Whenever I make these longer term goals, I just stop checking them, or I don't. It's just so out of sight, out of mind that it's very difficult to make it actionable. But whereas these short
Yeah.
term goals are that you can accomplish today or tomorrow and then if it's in the right direction, you'll get where you're trying to go.
Yeah, I find maybe it's just for my personal life. I don't make goals. It's for my business life. Maybe that's where I set aside for all of my goals. When I have a project, I do think of the end in mind of that project, and it's usually around how I want my clients or somebody to feel, and then I work backwards from that endpoint back to the beginning, and then I work back towards that ending, which is a very clear goal in my head. It takes some time to get to that point to figure out what that vision is, but in business, very goal oriented and broken down into a series of steps. In my personal life, I feel like I need to be more relaxed, and that's like my recovery time. So to better prepare myself for business. So I don't try to put too many goals in my personal life or in my finances. I just focus on the business, and then those finances allow me to relax in my personal life.
I love it. I love it. Now, so we have Ryan Maloney here. We have talked about NFTs. We have talked about the creator economy. We had talked about how he got where he's going, or how he got where he is, where he's going. Is there anything, I know, you're a busy guy and everything. Is there anything that we might have not discussed, or anything that you might want to mention? We got Beastly Ballers. The floor is yours.
No, I think people can just check out my work on TikTok and go through the whole funnel of stalk me on Instagram or my website, and it's just Art, and you'll see my crazy work that I create, and we can do this again, round two, and bring up some more topics.
Yeah, I had a blast today. I have a ton of questions, that I'll probably be texting you.
We should
And
do it. We'll record it.
yeah. So I'm excited to follow you. The work ethic is what has honestly inspired me here today. Consistency is something that I preach, and you're always trying to keep. It's the thing with consistency is it is work, and you have to be consistent. It's not easy, and hearing from you what you've done, what your work, your portfolio and everything is inspiring. So if you haven't already, go follow Ryan on TikTok, Instagram, check out his NFTs. I'm going to be looking at some BC Ballers. Maybe not right after this because I got to hit the beach. I'm in Hawaii still, but I'm going to be checking those out. And this was a super fun interview, and I'm looking forward to kind of see where you go because the work ethic is the important thing, and that's couldn't be more clear from this conversation.
Definitely. Well said. We'll do it again, and thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Welcome to the Incubator, and now I'll talk to you soon.